Hello, geometry folks. Welcome back. I hope 8-1 went well for you. If you were confused or had some struggles with it, please go back and I encourage you to watch it again because a lot of those ideas are not difficult concepts for this section though. The rest of these concepts get a little bit tougher and there's a lot of details you got to keep straight. So I would encourage you to rewatch that or revisit the notes so that you're ready to go and completely understand what you're doing. That being said, let's talk about trapezoids, a rhombus, and a kite. And the area of a trapezoid is kind of where we start. Now remember what a trapezoid means. Trapezoid means one set of parallel lines, okay, and one set of non-parallel lines. Okay, so my parallel lines I call bases. Okay, so they're going to be my bases. So I'll call this like base 1 and base 2, and I'll just use the footnote like that. Then I also need my height. Okay, my height, straight up, straight down. Sometimes this is called an altitude, but that's my base. So the area of this thing just becomes the average of the two bases times the height. Average, I just mean add them together divided by 2. So you take the average of the two bases divided by 2 and multiply it by the height. Or not the average, you take the sum of the two bases, divide it by 2, and multiply it by the height. Okay, so add the base 1 and base 2 together, divide by 2, multiply the height. So for here, this is a razor blade. You know, these are my parallel lines. So I could call this base 1, I could call this base 2. This would be my height. So I would add those two together and divide by 2 and then multiply that by 1. So 2.5 plus 3 divided by 2 is just going to be 2.75. That's it. My area is just going to be 2.75 centimeters squared. That's all I'm doing. So just add the bases together, divide by 2 times the height. That's it. That's it. So for here, this is 28, this is 58. I'm calling this 30. So 30 will not be my height. So I'm going to need to find my height there. So what I do is, you know, I look at this is 28, this is 28. So 58 minus 28 will be 30. Divided by 2 makes this 15. So I have a right triangle where this is 30 and this is 15. So I need to figure out this. So 15 squared plus b squared equals 30 squared. So that's 900 minus 225. So b squared will equal 900 minus 225. Square root, square root. So the height here will actually be 25.98. If you rounded it to 26, I wouldn't hate that. So it's 25.98. So to figure out the area of this thing, I'm going to take base 1 and base 2. So I'll take 28 plus 58 divided by 2 times my answer, to multiply by 25.98. So add 28 and 58 divided by 2 times 25.98. So that becomes 1,117.4 centimeters squared. All right, so that's how much material would be used to make one side. All right, so here this kind of becomes my height. This becomes my height right here, and I know that this is 5. These are my parallel lines. So that's base 1, that's base 2, but I don't know what this is. They don't tell me what this is. Well, what I kind of need to do is I kind of need to get clever here a little bit. So what I do is I recognize, okay, that's 4. If I bring this over, this is 4. So if I can figure out this length right here, if I can figure out this B down here, I can take 9 minus B, and that will be equal to what that is. Okay, so this whole bottom base, this whole base 2 is 9. If I can subtract this part, I'll be left with the top. So I'm going to do Pythagorean theorem again. And I'm looking for this side. So b squared plus 4 squared equals 5 squared. So b squared will equal 25 minus 16. 4 squared 16, 5 squared 25. So b squared equals 9, so b will just equal 3. So the top is going to be 9 minus 3, so that's going to give me an answer of 6. Okay, so I had to get a little clever about figuring out that side, but I can use Pythagorean theorem there. So my bases together will be 6 plus 9 divided by 2 times 4. So a little bit of calculator mashing later, and I get 30 feet squared. That's my answer. So now here we have some isosceles trapezoids, and isosceles trapezoids tell me that these two are equal. So if it's an isosceles trapezoid, so that's 2, that's 4. Sorry, that's a horrible drawing. Let's try that one more time. Just a little bit bigger to work with. So that is 4, that is 2, that is 3. So if it's isosceles, then this makes a perfect square. So that puts 1 there, and 2 there. So now I need to figure out my height. Okay, the 3 represents this. That's not my height. 3, 1, h. So 1 squared plus h squared equals 3 squared. So h squared ends up equaling 8. Once I subtract 1 squared, subtract 1 squared. So square root of 8 will just be 2.83. So that's my height. So now my area becomes 2 plus 4 divided by 2 times that answer, times that height. Okay, so when I do that, multiply it together, my answer becomes 8.49 centimeters squared. So that becomes my answer. That becomes my answer. So now switch gears here a little bit to a kite and a rhombus. So a rhombus, remember, all 4 sides are equal. Also in a rhombus, one thing to remember, diagonals are perpendicular. So that creates 4 right triangles, which can come in handy. For a kite, that means these two are equal, these two are equal. Again, these are perpendicular. Only one set gets bisected. Here, both sets get bisected. So a couple of rules to remember for a kite and a rhombus. Sorry, for both of these, it's going to be the same thing. For both of these, to figure out my answer, it's going to be my diagonals multiplied together divided by 2. That's my area, okay? The diagonal times diagonal divided by 2. And the reason this works is because I split it up into right triangles. So that's why, and I can go into a better explanation more in class if you really want to know. But the punchline is you got to multiply the diagonals to come in handy. So for number 5 here, very simple, 8 times 15 divided by 2. That answer will be 60 meters squared. That's it. That's it. For this rhombus over here on the right, so this is 10, that makes this 10. This is 12, that makes this 12. So my diagonals one diagonal is 20, not 10. The other diagonal will be 24. So my area is going to be 20 times 24 divided by 2. So after all that, it becomes 240 square feet. There's my answer. Okay. Too tough here. So now, a little bit trickier here, working backwards. They're telling you that the area of the kite's 92. So you know it's 92. Here's one diagonal. Here's the other diagonal. So it's going to be 22 times x divided by 2. So 22 divided by 2 is just 11. So I want to divide by 11. So x will equal then 8.36, repeating. So that diagonal is going to be about 8.36, about 8.4. Okay, last problem here. RT is 24. So RT, this one here, is 24. Okay, so that's like my diagonal 1. RST, so this angle here is 54. Okay, so this is going to bring back some trig, which I know you all love. So I have to realize that in a rhombus, the diagonals bisect. Okay, so 54 divided by 2 should be 27, and it is. That's 27, that's 27. Okay, the diagonals get bisected, so that makes that 12. I need to figure out this length right here. Okay, let me change a different color here. I need to figure out this length right here, because then I can double it, and I can figure out what that diameter is. So if this is 12, this is 27, it's a right triangle. I need to figure out that. Okay, all I did was kind of take this triangle and twist it up. Well, from 27, that's the opposite. That's my adjacent. That means I'm going to use tangent. And algebraically, all that happens is the h and the tangent of 27 switch places. So that's going to be an answer of 23.55. Okay, so one diagonal is 23.55. Double it for 47.10, because there's two of them. Okay, there's this side and this side. So this would be diagonal 2. So my whole area, 47.1 times 24 divided by 2. So I get about 565.23 units squared. And that's it. That's a good review of right triangle trig. Okay, so play around with 8.2. Okay, do the worksheet and the quizzes. And I look forward to answering your questions. Thank you.